Closer. Test mic.
Yes, sir. Nino, we can hear
Yun.
you.
Mas malinaw. Wala nang
Yes, sir.
static.
Wala na po, sir.
Ang galing ng data, no?
Good morning to our dear parents, students, and fellow staff. Before we begin our webinar for today, we would like to remind everyone to please keep our mics turned off during our lecture. You may use our chat box for your questions, and at the end of our lecture, your questions will be read and answered during our Q&A portion. Please place your settings to speaker view, and we would like to advise everyone when we will play our videos, kindly adjust your sounds on your tolerated level. Lastly, we would like to inform everyone that this webinar will be recorded. We will start at exactly 10:05.
Test mic.
Let us begin our webinar with our Philippine National Anthem, followed by our prayer.
Pambansang Awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig, ang ituwin at araw niya kailan pang ay di magtitindig, luman ang araw ng walhaging pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya ng pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Lord, be beside us every day, guiding and leading us gently always. Lord, be above us, help us to see the hope of the future of all we could be. Lord, be beneath us, carry us when we're too shattered or tired to really have strength. Lord, be ahead of us, smoothing our paths, protecting and blessing the places we pass. Protecting and blessing the places we pass. Lord, be behind us, healing our wounds, forgiving our mistakes and making us new. Jesus, be within us. This family is yours, now and forever. You are our Lord. Jesus, be within us. This family is yours, now and forever. You are our Lord.
Once again, good morning to everyone. I am Nurse Shenka Dayona, one of the nurses of CIIT and one of the moderators for this morning's event. I would like to present my colleague, Nurse Joy Yango, as we call her for our opening remarks.
Welcome to our dearest parents, students, members of the board, and to our colleagues. I am honored to be speaking before you and welcoming everyone to our first webinar series for the month of September. This is an initiative by the Medical Health Services in collaboration with our Guidance Counseling Center as part of our Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. In this time of our normal, we are all adjusting to live our lives. However, we are sometimes feeling alone, restless, stressed, and anxious about what might come next. Most of us feel overwhelmed on all of the tasks, work, financial problems, and other issues that sometimes we forget to have time to ourselves and to our family. During this normal life, most of us are working from home. Some need to be physically present at work. Regardless of our nature of work, we are all stressed. And the sad reality is that we usually forget to have time boundaries with the work and with family. We don't have the time to ask how our children doing. How are the online classes? Are they coping up? Sad truth is most of the time we don't see each other because we all have our own time even if we are living inside one roof. In this webinar, entitled Mental Health Checkup, Parental Consciousness on Teens' Depression and Anxiety During the New Normal Environment, we understand the need to be aware of the mental health of our children because this will also affect not just academic performance but also their physical health. We hope that to our dear parents and guardians, this will help us to understand our children, their mental health needs, how to build good communication with our children, and how to help them cope and adjust in this new normal. Without further ado, I would like to present our guest speaker for today. He graduated of Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, cum laude, in Calayan Educational Foundation in Lucena City. A civil service eligible second level professional, honor graduate, a certified security trainer, registered psychometrician, volunteered for psychological first aid to Typhoon Yolanda victims, with ongoing thesis writing for Master of Arts in Guidance and Counseling in Bicol University, had hard work in DSWD as psychologist too, and a psychometrician in Divine World College of Legazpi Admission Guidance and Testing Center, and now our guidance counselor in senior high school. Please welcome our very own Mr. Nino Daet. Welcome, Sir Nino.
Thank you, Nurse Jen. Oh, yes. Okay, so thank you very much, Nurse Joy. I forgot to mention the name. Anyway, let's continue with this one. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I am very much appreciative, especially for this time. This is part of my mental health advocacy, actually. And let's start with this one. As mentioned a while ago by Nurse Joy about this, what happening today, kung papansinin kasi natin is there's a lot of changes. In these changes, sometimes it is very hard for us to adapt and so on. And most of these changes, we are not prepared for that. That's number one truth. And for that changes, all of us may not notice things around us, especially mga anak natin and so on. And of course, with you respect with all those things happening, the truth is we have this level of adaptations. And these adaptations commonly it takes 2 weeks to 2 years. Only if the changes is already fixed. So until now, we are still struggling for these changes. And the number one thing that affects us, especially ourselves, is our mental health. That's why we have this seminar, webinar, this mental health checkup. Let us try to look first, as a parent, of course, what are those things that might be happening to our teenagers. Tell you the truth, kami ng mga teenagers ngayon, ang tahimik. Most especially pag nasa bahay, with our presence. But let us try, okay? Let us try to look if in case magiging maayos naman or okay pa naman sila. Okay? So, checking the audio. So, let's start with the... By the way, I would like to apologize for the audio, especially because I am presently staying here in Legazpi City. Okay? And there's some difficulty with the connections for the convert. So, hope you could bear and at least medyo marinig malinaw konti and so on. Okay, so let's continue. Try natin, okay? So, yun. All right, so let's start.
Okay. We do apologize for the audio of our guest speaker, Sir Nino.
With
Currently,
this present or things that was happening today. First, depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide, and it is a major contributor to regional garden. Who's doing? All right, so crayon. Just give me a minute, and I'll try to ship sa laptop.
okay, while we are waiting for our guest speaker, for to change his settings, his audio settings, um, let us give at least Sir Nino at least 2 minutes for this. All right, Sir Nino. Can you hear us now, Sir Nino? Okay, while we are currently fixing Sir Nino's um, audio sounds, we will be providing you a teaser for our next webinar. Okay, Sir Nino, are we good? Okay, while we are still checking on the audio of Sir Nino, we will be showing a quick video, a simple video about suicide awareness.
I have my ups and downs, just like anybody else.
Maybe more than anybody else.
I can be hard to figure out.
And I like my privacy.
I don't want you looking over my shoulder all the time.
But you know your kid better than anybody else. And if you think he's acting different than usual,
Acting really down, crying all the time for no good reason.
Or getting really mad, not able to sleep, or sleeping too much.
Shutting her friends out or giving her stuff away.
Acting reckless, drinking, using drugs, staying out late.
Suddenly not doing stuff he used to love.
or doing stuff that's just not like him.
It might be nothing to worry about. It might just be high school.
Or it might be something more. He might be depressed.
Not just feeling down, really depressed.
It might be that your kid is thinking about killing himself.
It happens. More than you think. More than it should.
And people say, I had no idea.
I thought it was just a phase he was going through.
I never thought she'd do it.
I wish he'd come to me.
I wish he'd said
I
something.
wish I'd said something.
When it's too late. So if you think your kid's acting different, if she seems like a different person, say something.
Say, what's wrong? How can I help?
And ask straight out. Are you thinking about killing yourself? It doesn't hurt to ask. In fact, it helps.
When people are thinking about killing themselves, they want somebody to ask.
They want somebody to care.
Maybe you're afraid you'll make it worse if you ask. Like, you'll put the idea in their head.
Believe me, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
In fact, the best way to keep a teenager from killing herself is to ask, are you thinking about killing yourself?
And what if they say yes?
Or maybe.
Or sometimes,
Well, here's what you don't say.
That's crazy.
Don't be such a drama
you're
queen.
making too much of this.
That boy's not worth killing yourself over.
That's not going to solve anything.
You're just trying to get attention.
You're not going to kill yourself.
What you do say is,
I'm sorry you're feeling so bad. How can I help?
We'll get through this together.
Let's keep you safe.
A lot of people think about killing themselves, adults and kids.
most of them never try it, but some of them do. So if your kid says,
I'd be better off dead.
I can't live with this.
I'm gonna kill myself,
Take her seriously. Find someone she can talk to about it. Someone who knows how to help.
Sometimes kids want to kill themselves because something happened. A breakup, a failure. But sometimes it goes deeper, and it's not going to go away by itself.
Get some help. Talk to your doctor.
Or a counselor at school.
Or your minister.
but don't just let it drop.
And make sure that your kid always has someone to turn to. Someone he trusts.
Make a list together right then. 3, 4, 5 names.
Put a suicide hotline number on there too.
Have him keep that list in his wallet, so he always knows where to turn.
Make sure your home is safe.
If you have pills she could use to hurt herself, lock them up.
If you have a gun, don't just lock it up. Get it out of the house. The bullets, too.
And one more thing. If you think your kid might be about to hurt himself, don't leave him alone.
Take him to the emergency room.
Call 911 if you have to.
We all have our ups and downs, but sometimes it's more than that.
If you think something's wrong, the only way to find out is to ask.
Ask straight out. Are you thinking about killing yourself?
Don't wait until you're sure. Trust your gut.
Because it never hurts to ask.
And it can make a big difference. All the difference.
In your kid's life.
Okay, testing.
Okay, hi Sir Nino.
Hello. So,
Okay.
malinaw na? Malinaw na yung sounds ko?
Medyo ano lang po sir, choppy po.
Medyo choppy.
Yes sir.
Okay. Pero naiintindihan naman.
Yes sir. We can hear you.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have a problem here with our connection sa Converse dito sa Albay because of those fluctuating connectivity. And unfortunately, medyo nakaka-apekto ng mental health din itong ginagawa ng Converge. Anyway, unannounced, minsan they were doing this unannounced. So that's why, yun nga sabi ko kanina na sana hindi nila gawin. And ayun, ginagawa na naman nila. Anyway, I hope that you could bear and I apologize for not so clear audio. But ang pinaka-importante sana po ay maintindihan niyo ang binabanggit natin. Now, so, sayang po ng oras. We already consume at least 30 minutes for this one. So, let us continue na po. Alright, so let us try to review first what is the status of our Philippine mental health. As of today, we consider, the World Health Organization consider that depression is the number one thing that may affect our mental health. Okay? And for that, every 40 seconds, someone is committing suicide around the world. Ganun na katindi ang depressions. And because of these depressions, it might lead into suicide. So that's why, sa sobrang dami nito, so yung mga nakalipas na nangyayari, ganun na. And at the same time, here in the Philippines, 4 na Pilipino ang nagpapakamatay araw-araw. So, masyado na. Eh, lalo na ngayon na may lockdown. So, mas mahirap yung sitwasyon natin ngayon. Okay? Next. And to tell you the truth, among those people na nagpapakamatay, this is one sa reality. Mas maraming lalaki nagpapakamatay kaysa sa babae. So, most probably, we might be thinking, bakit kaya ganon? One explanation of this one is simply because ang mga lalaki kasi hindi, let me say, meron tayong orientation, social orientation, that when you cry, parang mahina ang kalooban na yun. Okay? It makes you a very weak personality. Number one reason kung bakit ang mas kukunti sa babae, kasi ang babae, they were able to cry. And they became more emotionally stable kaysa sa lalaki. Ang mga lalaki, pag masyado nang nadidisturb, okay? Pag masyado nang nadidisturb yung nararamdaman nila, so most probably, kino-contain nila yon. Okay? Again, I apologize for the audio kasi nga po, yung connection namin dito sa Converge, dito sa Albay. By the way, I'm presently here in Legazpi City. This is my hometown. And medyo hindi talaga stable yung connectivity na nangyayari dito. I hope that you could bear with these difficulties. Anyway, majority of those people who commit suicide, ang ginagamit nilang method ay paglalason. And most of those, yung nabibigyan ko ng counseling dati, they also experience. By the way, karamihan mga nagsisuicide ng mga cases na nahawakan ko, yung mga relatives nila nagsuicide din. Okay? It's either their parents and so on. And the most common thing na ginagamit nila is pag-inom ng mga, or pag-overdose. It result to poisoning. So, next. And another thing, another observation, kung mapapansin niyo po, pag merong napabalita nag-suicide, special cases, ang nangyayari nito, sunod-sunod siya. It happened, there is one incident happened here in Albay, in one particular school na on every month, may nagpapakamatay. And basically, yung mga nagpapakamatay na they are circle of friends, halos lahat sila, parang napag-usapan na nila. Another thing, meron din naman na hindi naman kasama doon, pero was na-expose sa media, they have this idea na ito rin pala yung gagawin ko. Number one reason is, those people with depressions, they have this difficulty of getting your attention. So they want your attention, but they were unable to speak out. Okay? It holds them. So, ang nakikita nila, pag merong nagpakamatay, yung attention ng mga tao, especially sa school, na andun sa nagpapakamatay. So, ang nangyayari, they have this idea na, siguro makakuha din ako ng attention pag kung gagawin ko rin to. Okay? So, that's why media exposure is one of the aspect kung bakit tumataas yung cases natin ng suicide. Okay, next. And karamihan po na nagpapakamatay din, mga lasing. Okay? Ano nga bang ginagawa ng alak? Of course, alam naman natin ang alak nakakalasing. But to tell you the truth, this alcohol, ang ginagawa nito sa atin is actually, it intensify our emotions. Obserbahan nyo, kung masaya kayo, uminom kayo ng alak, mamaya-maya sasayaw at kakanta-kanta ka na. Pag malungkot ka, uminom ka ng alak, mamaya hahagulgul ka na ng iyak. Pag galit ka, uminom ka ng alak, pag nalasing ka, mamaya-maya, magwawala ka na. What more if you have the symptoms of depressions? So mas it intensify our emotions to the point that we might think of committing suicide. Next. So here are the situations of our students, especially ages 16 to 24. Okay? So majority of those students who have this severe depression, they have these three particular factors. These are based on the studies. Number one is school pressure. Especially pag sabay-sabay na yung mga requirements and so on and so forth. Last week, meron pa lang sa akin nagpa-counseling etong weekend, yung mga previous na mga naging estudyante ko. And ang pinoproblema nila, they have 10 activity that they really have to comply. Tapos ang binigay lang is 1 week. Ngayon yung 10 activities na yun, I think more on sa mathematics and so on. Now, ito yung problema niya. Okay? Nagre-rely lang siya sa data. So, gabi-gabi umiiyak na lang yung bata. And yun, napilitin nang tumawag sa akin yung magulang kasi they were able to handle the situation. So, isa na rin to. Likewise, ito yung sasabi ko sa inyo na there are a lot of pressures and there are things that we cannot do kasi limitado yung espasyo natin at naandito lang tayo sa bahay. Another thing is the family conflicts. Okay? Hindi maiwasan na yung concern natin is mahati. One good thing dati is napunta tayo ng school. Okay? Na naiiba yung attention natin, focus natin. Dito sa family, pag umuwi tayo, bumabalik pa lang. But what if kung magkasama na yan? Kung dati pa lang apektado ng isang tao sa kaiisip ng problema sa pamilya, what more kaya ngayon? And lastly, among those students at this age, they are emotionally, they are on the stage of emotional exploration. Kaya marami dyan na may mga girlfriend GF. And since this is very new for them, mas maraming mga LQs na nakaka-apekto din sa kanila. Okay? There are also some cases na na-handle ako na dahil na rin sa iniwanan, actually nung yung isa sa cases na nakwento ko kanina, na nagsimula lang yon kasi yung pinaka-leader ng grupo nila is iniwanan siya ng GF niya. So masyado siyang dependent doon and after 2 weeks, nagpakamatay yung bata. Next. So 50% among those Filipino students depressions, they actually suffers their interpretations of their situations is pakiramdam nila walang nakakaunawa sa kanila. Pamilya nila, kaibigan nila, so they tend to shut down. When we said shut down, pag tinanong mo sila, o kumusta ka na, okay ka lang, they always mention okay. And wala na. But the word okay, in my experience, is, ang salitang okay, parang ano siya, isa sa mga pinakasinungaling salita. Okay? In my experience na classroom, pag tinatanong kong estudyante, kumusta na kayo, okay lang ba kayo? So they were always okay. Naintindihan nyo ba yung lesson? Yes, sir. Okay? Okay. But the truth is, hindi naman talaga. We always confirm with this word, but actually, yun yung nasa isip nila. And they don't want to disclose. Ayaw na nilang sabihin for simply because ayaw nila makaabala. At mamaya-maya, siyempre, kukulutin sila and hindi sila nagsasalita. And most probably, at yung sasabihin nila, wala nakakaunawa sa kanila. Okay? Next. So 16% among those 30 to 16 years old students who already have thoughts of attempting suicide. So imagine, halos 2 sa 10 estudyante sa ganitong edad, especially in a junior high school, nakakapag-isip ng ganito. Okay? We do not know kung sino sa mga kasamahan natin sa bahay ang nakapag-isip na rin ito. Akala natin okay lang kasi tayo nasanay tayo na hangga't hindi mo sinasabi yung problema, everything is okay. So, ganun yung orientation natin. So, etong mga nagpapakamatay na to, hindi sila nagsasalita. Okay? Kung meron man nagsasabi, obviously, that is attention seeking. Kaya lang, pag hindi mo pinansin, yun ang magsisimula, tototohanin na nila. Next. Another thing, yung mga tao na hindi naman nagpapakamatay, they are doing this what we call the non-suicidal self-inflicting injury or the NSSI. So hindi naman sinusugatan lang nila yung sarili nila. There are some people na ini-slash yung braso nila and so on. The main purpose of that is para lang makaranas ng pain. Actually, way back 2015, there is one university in Visayas have conducted this non-self-inflicting injury. Ang ginagawa nila, nagbubunot ng buhok, especially dito sa gilid ng buhok natin, na pag binunot natin, medyo masakit. And they found out, 6 sa 10 college student gumagawa nun. Now, you might be thinking, bakit kaya nila sinasaktan ng sarili nila pag ganitong nai-stress sila or natitrigger ng depression and anxiety? The only thing is, ang emotional pain kasi, ang tagal wala yung sakit. Pero pag nilagyan mo ng physical pain, nadadivert yung sakit sa physical pain, then eventually, pag nawala na yung sakit, nare-relax ka na. Nare-relax yung utak mo. Okay? So, pag naging ganun yung sitwasyon, magiging ganito na rin, negative coping na to ng bata. And what's happening today, 9th leading cause na to ng kamatayan ng karamihan. They don't intend to commit suicide, but then again, yung pananakit paulit-ulit sa sarili, of course, alam natin nakakamatay yon. Next. Alright. So, yan yung dating sitwasyon natin before lockdown. But what is really happening? What is this impact? Ano nga ba yung nangyari sa mental health natin, especially among our Filipino youth? So tingnan natin with this recent study, last May 2020. And this study was conducted here in NCR. So first thing, after this ECQ or during this ECQ, the impact is 15% have increased in critical level of stress. So mas na-stress sa atin ngayon. It goes of 15% higher kesa nung dati. Another thing is the anxiety level is tumaas din, 29%. And of course, mas dumami na rin ng 21% yung dati natin na malala, mas lumala pa ngayon ng 21% yung depression. Next. Another thing na medyo nakakagulat kasi we really have to adapt. Kailangan pa rin natin mabuhay, kailangan pa rin natin tulungan sarili natin at ang pamilya natin. Hindi tayo pwedeng umaasa lang sa ayuda. And because of that, marami sa atin nag-work from home. We here in CIIT, lahat kami work from home. Okay? And presently, ako nga yung pinakamalayo sa mga empleyado ng CIIT kasi nandito ako sa Legazpi City. And because of that, yan siya sabi namin na maganda kasi pag nagtatrabaho ka, yung attention mo nasa trabaho pag nasa workplace ka. Pero pag nandito ka sa bahay, hindi mo maiwasan na yung nakaka-stress sa'yo sa bahay, sasama-sama yan doon sa trabaho. So that's why mas maraming na-stress, mas maraming nagkakaroon ng anxiety and depression 5 times sa mga taong tatrabaho dito sa bahay. Now, if you are stressed, if you are experiencing and you are triggered with this anxiety and depression, although kasama mo yung mga bata, yung mga anak, and so on, natural, mainit ang ulo mo, 5 times na mas mainit ang ulo mo, mas mapapagbuntungan mo rin sila na halos walang ginagawa. Yun ang sasabihin natin. But of course, they also have this kind of stress. Okay? Next. Eto pa. Ito yung nakakagulat. To tell you the truth, I am also, sabi ko nga, hindi ako apektado ng pagsasara ng ABS-CBN kasi ako, mahilig ako sa Netflix. But when I found out, based on the research, watching Netflix 6 hours a day, it increases livelihood to severe depression. So in short, pag 6 na oras ka nanonood dito, halos araw-araw, mas mataas yung tsansa na magkaroon ka ng depression. So, ito yung nakakagulat talaga. Okay? Next. Ito pa, this is reality actually. Even though with or without lockdown, not having exercise, it might have a higher risk of 1.5 times for severe anxiety and 3 times na nagiging risky sa mga may depression. Mas tumataas yung chances. So, buti na lang, at least makaramihan sa atin na we are engaged or exercising kasi iniwasan natin baka mag-overeating tayo. But the problem with those people na hindi nag-exercise, these are the particular risks na pwedeng mangyari sa mental health natin. Okay, next. Another thing, kung hindi man tayo nagne-Netflix, of course, we go with the social media. And the problem with the social media nowadays, masyado na ring toxic. Sa TV, toxic na ngayon napapanood natin. Sa Facebook, Twitter, eto na, nagtutunggali itong dalawang grupo ng Dilawan at DDS. When you are looking with these ones, it increases the anxiety. Sana matapos na to and so on and so forth. And the result for that, we have 1.6 higher risk na pwedeng magkaroon tayo ng severe anxiety. Aside from that, there is a 3 times higher risk din sa depression pag masyado tayong napapasobra sa Facebook, Twitter, ngayon naman Discord, and so on. Next. Among the millennials, if we are going to separate those per generation, according to the study, 43% among the millennials have severe anxiety. Likewise, among those millennials, 8 sa 10 millennials and Generation Z, they also have high anxiety level. And of course, 6 sa 10 millennials naman nakakaranas ng depression because of what is happening nowadays. Next. And because of this one, from the latest convention that the UN conducted with regards to the mental health issues related to COVID, they found out that the group of people, the criteria, especially this is age group, ang pinaka-risky ngayon. So pinagbabawalan natin lumabas yung 21 years old pababa at saka yung 60 years old pataas. But among those people, ang pinaka-risky talaga na apektado sa mental health ang mga kabataan natin. And it was been proven worldwide. Next. And also, eto na balita ako to sa 24 oras. According to DSWD, because of those situations, mas tumaas yung domestic violence. We might be fearing na baka mas maapektuhan tayo ng COVID, pero mas tumaas yung domestic violence among women and children. Siguro kung titingnan natin, mainit ang ulo natin, hindi tayo nakakalabas. We are socially active people. Pag masyadong stressful ang bahay, lalabas at lalabas tayo, magpapahangin. Or there are people na they tend to overwork themselves. Ngayon, nag-overtime sa opisina kasi ayaw pang umuwi dahil pagdating ng bahay, stress na stress. So, what if dito ka na sa bahay nagtatrabaho? So, mainit ang ulo mo, sino mapagbubuntungan mo? Kung sino yung nasa bahay. Okay? And majority of these cases, ayan, mas tumataas lalo na sa mga kabayan at sa mga kabataan. Next. And also from the psychologists of the PAP, ito na rin yung patunayan namin. Even when I was being locked down sa Quezon City last March, maraming tumawag sa akin mga previous counseling ko. Okay? Majority of them, they are suicidal, then they have these clinical depressions, may mga anxiety disorders, and majority of them, sabi nila bumabalik na naman lahat, natitrigger na naman sila. Okay? And this is the sad truth, and it was being confirmed by the psychologists from Psychological Association of the Philippines na there are chances of a relapse tendency. What is a relapse? So meaning, yung mga dating sintomas, magsisibalikan yun. And mas matindi pa ngayon kasi mas babalik pa, mas maano pa, mas tataas yung intensity. Isa pang problema, we used to do this counseling face-to-face. Eh ngayon, di na, video na, and so on. Okay? Kaya, tingnan pa rin natin kung ano nga ba yung pwedeng mangyari sa kanila. So far, karamihan na rin naman ang kausap ko, medyo nakaka-recover na rin sila, and I just shifted my strategy of doing things in a cyber chatting or sabihin natin chat counseling and teleconference. Kahit pa paano nakakatulong. But still, we need to monitor them, especially the symptoms. And sa totoo lang, sa mga kabataan na may mga sintomas na ito, is hindi natin basta-basta masasabing okay sila dahil tahimik lang sila sa isang tabi. Yung nga mas nakakatakot. I hope with these seminars that we are doing, regardless of our audio problem, may makuha kayong tips para malaman how are you going to intervene with this youth na nakakaranas ng ganito. Akala natin okay pa sila, yung pala hindi na. Okay? So, okay na po audio. Yun, buti na lang. Now, so with this regards, kaya tayo meron itong webinar na to to give you an idea how to deal with them. So, let's have a short teaser muna for that. So, after this, mas papag-aralan natin ano nga ba talaga ang nangyayari sa kanila and how are we going to handle with these cases. Okay? So, sige. Nurse Jen, kayo muna. Back to you guys. Okay, so konting commercial muna from our sponsor, siyempre. Sige, now let us continue with this closer examination. What is really happening to those people with depression and anxiety? So may kita nyo dito sa slide na ito, these are all the scanned copy ng may depression sa wala. On the left side, may kita nyo mas maraming blue kesa sa yellow, and the other side, mas marami naman yung yellow kesa blue. The right side actually, yung right side ng etong brain na to, these are those people without depression. Okay? And in short, dito sa kabila, ito naman yung may depression. Okay? So since may depression dito, mapapansin nyo, konting parte lang ng utak natin ang gumagana. In short, those people with depression, kung bakit hindi nila naiisip. Well, for example, ito kasi madalas na senaryo, may depression ko pala, may problema ko pala, hindi mo sinasabi sa akin. Kasi sino lang nasabihin mo sa akin ng problema, pag-usapan natin yan. Okay? Actually, these people, pag sinabihan mo sila, kahit sila, hindi na rin nila alam bakit hindi nila kayang sabihin. Okay? Another thing, yung iba sa kanila, nagbababad lang, nagkukulong. Pwede naman sila lumapit sa kaibigan na, but they tend to shut themselves out of those people. Tanongin mo sila, bakit mo to ginagawa? Pwede ka naman matulungan. Hindi rin nila alam ang sagot. And this is the reason. Kung mapapansin nyo dito sa left side na may depression, karamihan or majority ng part ng utak ng tao, hindi talaga gumagana. So, paano kaya ito nangyari? So, let us try to have a closer look. So, depression is a disorder. First of all, let me clear this. This is a disorder and treatable. Yung iba kasi, sinasabi natin, malungkot ka lang and so on. I hope you remember one time yung, eto nag-viral to, nag-comment si Joey De Leon sa Itbulaga about this depression. Sabi niya, pag mayaman ka, stress ka. Pag mahirap ka, may problema ka lang. Kaya yung mga depression and wala yan. And after that, yun, naging trending yon. Maraming nagalit, maraming nabwisit. Kinabukasan, nag-apologize si Joey De Leon because yung thinking niya about this depression is something na parang mood lang natin na pabago-bago. But actually, it is not. It is a disorder. Ang maganda lang dito, katulad din siya ng ibang sakit, katulad din siya ng trangkaso, pwede siyang magamot. Kaya lang, ang taong may depression, hindi ibig sabihin na depresya is, ito na yung simbolo ng pagiging kahinaan niya sa pagharap sa buhay. No, it's not. Okay? Talagang nararanasan niya to. And it is not so easy. Akala natin pag masakit ang ulo natin, pupunta tayo ng tindahan, bili tayo ng Biogesic, then after few minutes, wala na yung sakit. No, this is not like that. Okay? Depression could be treated medically. Pwedeng may iniinom na gamot. Kaya lang epekto nun, mga depende na rin sa tao, mostly 30 minutes. And another thing, depression, it could be, pwede siyang ma-deal with counseling. Pero mahabang proseso yun. Okay? Hindi siya basta-basta. Kaya nga, yung sinasabi ng iba, ng depression, parang maintenance mo na rin yan. Okay? But of course, there are different approaches. Like us, who are practicing psychotherapy, especially trauma psychotherapy, gumagamit kami ng cognitive behavior therapy para sanayin namin yung utak. We are reprogramming the brains na maging active siya uli. Okay? So, titingnan natin kung paano yung ginagawa. Mamaya ako ipapaliwanag. By the way, para malaman natin, lilinawin lang natin ang sintomas ng clinical depression. Pag sinabi siyang clinical depression, so ibig sabihin, we need to consult psychiatrists and clinical psychologists na dito. Hindi lang basta-basta siya depression. Okay? And we have to observe the symptoms for these 2 weeks. Tingnan natin, sa loob ng 2 linggo, gayon, ilang buwan na tayong lockdown. Let us try to look from this one. Number 1, symptom is there is what we call the overwhelming sadness. Masyadong malungkot, matinding kalungkutan. Baka kayo may depression na rin, tingnan nyo. Kung nakakaranas ka ng ganito katinding kalungkutan na hindi mo basta, alam mo yun yung nalulungkot ka na lang na hindi mo may paliwanag kung bakit ka nalulungkot. Nagagalit ka na hindi mo may paliwanag sa sarili mo bakit nagagalit ka na lang. Yung ganong klase ng pakiramdam. That's number 1 symptom. If you feel that for the last 2 weeks, you might have a symptoms for clinical depression. Number 2 symptoms na titingnan nyo, this restlessness or total loss of interest. Yung bang parang ang tawag dito, ang bagal-bagal ng sarili natin pagkilos natin. We call that paralysis. So we have this selective physical paralysis. And another thing is, yung dati mong ginagawa, for example, mahilig ka mag-Facebook or mahilig ka manood ng TV, mahilig kang mag-gardening, and totally nawala lahat yon. Ang gusto mo na lang is either magkulong ka na magkulong sa kwarto and kung wala kang kakausapin dahil hindi ka interesado at kung nararanasan mo to for the last 2 weeks, you might have clinical depression. What if ha? What if ngayong araw nararanasan mo to? Kinabukasan hindi naman. Then the next, ganun pa rin. Well, hindi pa yon clinical depression. Pero you might have tendency na magkaroon ng clinical depression. Dahil kung palagi kang ganyan, darating din ang panahon mo na dedire-diretso yan for 2 weeks. At yun ang kailangan ma-anticipate natin. Ito pang nakakabahala. What if naranasan mo na to more than 2 weeks na? Okay? What if kung mas tumagal pa? Dati na pala, before lockdown, meron ka na ganitong sintomas. 2 years na. Iba ng ano doon. Kung mas lumala yung depression mo, most likely, sa mga kabataan, we call that, nagkakaroon ka ng tinatawag na dysthymia. Okay? Yung iba naman, mas nagiging hyperactive. So, iba, that we call that cyclothymia. Yung hyperactive naman, yung laging galit, nagwawala, o kaya lakad ng lakad, basta lang malibang ang sarili niya. Yung epekto pag more than 2 years na. Yung iba naman, halimbawa, nasanay ka, ngayon masaya, then the other day hindi naman, at ganito nagiging sitwasyon mo, most likely magkakaroon ka ng tinatawag nating bipolar. So, lahat yun, kung titingnan natin, nakalinyada dito sa mood disorder na depression. So, mas ma-examine natin yun. Depende sa tagal ng panahon and recurrency ng mga symptoms na yan. Kaya yung mga nagkaroon ng relapse tendencies ngayon na panahon na ito, eto na ang nararanasan nila. Okay, next. Okay, let us try to review our brain. Bakit nga ba nangyayari ito? So, basically, by function, merong dalawang parte ng brain natin. Although maraming parte, we call this the thinking brain and the amygdala. Yung thinking brain natin, yung nasa noo, at yung tinatawag natin na medial prefrontal cortex. And yung emotional brain naman natin, yung amygdala, hippocampus, and the rest of those group na naandito, they are the emotional brain. Now, every time na natitrigger tayo, nai-stress, tumataas ang anxiety and depression, ang gumagana sa atin yung amygdala. Parang alert system yan. Na sinasabi ng amygdala, hindi ka okay. Okay? So, which means, you are in danger at kailangan rumespond. Ngayon, eto si hippocampus naman, ang gagawin nito ni hippocampus, magsusupply siya ng lahat ng inputs dito kay amygdala. Ano ang dapat mong gawin? This is a fight or flight situation. Now, what if yung dating experiences mo hindi maganda? So, yun ang isusupply sa atin ni hippocampus. Ito pa yung problema. Once na na-activate ang emotional brain mo, ang thinking brain mo, nababawasan ng activity. Napansin nyo kanina, di ba? Mas marami yung blue part sa mga taong may depression at anxiety kaysa sa yellow part. Yung yellow part na yun, yan na yung emotional brain. Yung blue part, nandun yung thinking brain. Ano ba ang nasa thinking brain na hindi gumagana sa atin pag tayo natitrigger ng depressions, anxiety, and so on? First, number one na hindi gumagana sa atin yung rationality. If you're in a rational mood, so which means naiintindihan mo yung nangyayari sa paligid mo. You are mindful. Okay? Halimbawa, may ginagawa ka dyan, pag alam mo makaka-istorbo ka sa ibang tao, you decline what you are doing or you are limiting or controlling yourself. Pero pag gumagana ng emotional brain mo, wala kang pakialam. Example, nasa traffic ka. Okay? Malilate ka na sa trabaho. And of course, dahil na-traffic ka, malilate ka na sa trabaho, merong isang sasakyan dyan na lumulusot-lusot na lang, sa sobrang kabisitan mo, lumabas ka, pinagbumura mo siya. So in short, hindi na gumagana yung thinking brain mo because you are very much affected. Isa pa na may kaugnayan sa rational brain natin is apektado rin yung tinatawag natin na logic, reasoning, and so on. Kasama na rin dito yung konsepto natin ng tama at mali. Siguro minsan tataka ka, pwede ba tayo makonsensya before na mangyari ang bagay rin? Or laging after mong magawa ang isang bagay, saka pala papasok si konsensya? Well, sa totoo lang, totoo na after mo magawa ang isang bagay, saka pa lang, kasi kalmado na yung utak mo, doon pa lang gumagana si thinking brain. So, every time na nadidepress ka, na-stress ka, hindi gumagana si thinking brain. Hindi mo alam. Balikan ko yung sasabi ko kanina, may problema ka pala, ba't hindi ka lumapit sa akin at sabihin mo yan na problema mo at tutulungan kita. Ngayon, ang sagot nila, hindi rin nila alam kung bakit hindi nila magawa yon. It's simply because hindi nga gumagana si thinking brain para sa kanila. Naka-stuck sila. We are stuck on a moment. They are freeze once they are triggered. Meron pang isa, decision making. Pag hindi gumagana ang thinking brain mo, nahihirapan ka mag-decide. Okay? Mahihirapan ka agad-agad. Nagugulong ka and so on. Ano nga ba yung gagawin? Now, bakit kailangan pa natin magpa-counseling? Sa totoo lang, pag magpa-counseling ka or pumunta ka sa kaibigan mo na handa makinig sa'yo, gumagana ang thinking brain nila. That's why, mas natitimpla nila ang sitwasyon. Unlike ikaw, ganon. Siguro yung iba nagtatanong, hindi ako pwede maging counselor kasi sarili kong problema, hindi ko kayang masolusyonan. Well, totoo yun. Kahit ako, may mga problema rin naman ako eh. I've been practicing psychology siguro sa DSWD for the last 5 years. And hindi ko masabing epektibo ako. But the thing is, pag problemado ako, pinapasa ko ang kliyente ko sa iba. Kasi apektado na yung thinking brain ko. Pero pag kalmado na yan, mas natitimbang ko. Okay? So it doesn't mean na hindi ka pwede maging counselor and so on. That's the truth about this brain. And lastly, meron part ng thinking brain natin, etong planning. Okay? Ito pag stress ka, pag natitrigger ka, di ba ang pumapasok lang sa utak mo yung sitwasyon ngayon at yung nakalipas? Yung sense of future mo, wala. That's why, pag tayo sobrang galit, sobrang lungkot, hindi natin naiisip yung future. Hindi natin naiisip yung consequences ng ginagawa natin ngayon. Okay? Merong isa dyan papakamatay kasi nakikita niya na siguro mawawala ng problema nila pag wala na ako. So which means, hindi gumagana ang thinking brain nila na hindi nila iniisip na pag nawala siya, hahanapin siya dahil importante siya sa taong yon. So that's the reason kung bakit mas aktibo ang emotional brain at hindi ito pinapagana. Now, what if pag mas lumala pa ang nararamdaman ng tao, nag-intensify pa yung emotion, hindi na bumabalik yung thinking brain, eto na lang emotional brain ang gumagana. Based on my experiences sa DSWD, when I was working there for 5 years among the youth at trees and children at trees, ito yung mga sinasabi nila sa akin. Pag nasosobra na daw sila ng galit, okay, meron na daw sila naririnig na demonyo nagsasabi, sige, patayin mo yan. And that's truth, that's the truth. Meron akong, I think, 4 na kliyente noon. Hindi naman sila magkakakilala sa DSWD, dun sa Home for the Boys, yung mga kalalakihan, minor de edad na may mga kaso na napapasama sa away. Tinatanong ko sila bakit nangyayari yon. Hindi yung magkakilala iba't ibang sitwasyon ng away yun iba't ibang insidente. Karamihan sa kanila na hindi na control, yun ang sinasabi lang, may bumubulong sa tenga nila. Yung mga sobrang nalulungkot naman, meron din bumubulong sa tenga nila na magpakamatay ka na. So, in short, pag hinayaan mo ang sarili mo, nalamunin ka ng emotional brain at hindi na gumagana ang thinking brain mo, most likely, you might have these psychotic symptoms, hallucinations, delusions, and so on. Doon na mag-a-appear yun na may naririnig ka na kung ano-ano pa. At yun yung mahirap. Okay? So, I'm going to give you an example last time. Meron akong isang estudyante na bigla na lang siya nawala for 2 months. Graduating yung estudyante na yon. Napag-alaman ko pala, kasi nawala siya December. Then bumalik siya sa akin February na. So yung 2 months na yon, nawala siya, totally nawala, yung pala natitrigger siya pag December. Napag-alaman ko, yung estudyanteng yon, biktima pala siya ng lalaki, sexual abuse ng uncle niya. Yung uncle niya patay na. But every time na natitrigger siya, nangyayari yung December kasi yung uncle niya from abroad umuuwi nung bata pa siya and doon nangyayaring pagmumolestya sa kanya. So ngayon malaki na siya, by the way, nung nakausap ko siya, he's already 22 years old nung nakausap ko siya. So every December, natitrigger siya. At pumunta na siya, umiinom na siya ng gamot para huminto lang tong trauma niya and so on. So, nung pumunta siya sa akin, sabi ko, sige, tingnan nga natin kung kaya natin mawala yung... Kasi sabi niya, every time na natingin siya sa CR, sa kahit saang CR, lumalabas yung multo ng uncle niya. Papalapit sa kanya. Sabi ko, these are the symptoms for trauma, psychotrauma. So, sige. During that time, sa office ko noon, sa guidance office, wala nang mga tao kasi 7 o'clock na. So sabi ko, dito sa kwartong to, saan yung ayaw mong tingnan? Doon sa CR. Sige, tingnan mo yon. Palalabasin natin yung uncle mo. So maya-maya lumabas yung uncle niya, sabi niya. Ayan na, papalapit. Okay, sige. Papalapit na. Sabi mo, pag di mo na kaya, kasi papalayasin natin yung multo na yan. Yan sabi ko sa kanya. So, umiiyak na yung mata niya, pinapalapit ko pa, tumaas yung kamay. Sige, tingin mo yung mata mo sa akin. Then, ginawa ko na yung relaxation sa kanya. After relaxation, dinivert ko yung utak niya sa future plans. Yung dreams niya and goal. Kinukondisyon ko lang, pinapavisualize ko sa kanya. After that, wala pang 1 minuto, sabi ko, sige, tingnan mo yung CR. Nandun pa ba yung uncle mo? Sabi niya sa akin, wala na. Meron bang bumubulong pa sa tenga mo? Wala na rin. So in short, natulungan ko siya na paganahin ang thinking brain niya. So from that time, nawala yung mga sintomas ng psychosis. So this is one proof na if we know how to divert the emotional brain to thinking brain, we're able to manage this kind of symptoms. Okay? Na nasa depressions, anxiety, and any other things na nakaka-apekto sa mental health natin. Okay, next. By the way, if you have any questions, you can just post sa chat and so on. Then sila Nurse Joy and Nurse Jen, they collectively titingnan nila yung questions and mamaya sasagutin po natin yan. Alright, how are we going to deal with this one? Although ang topic natin is all about family, is eto kasi nakita ko to sa Twitter, maganda yung mga na-post niya dito. Isa siya na may depression dati, suicidal din siya, then pinost niya kung ano nga ba talaga yung nararamdaman niya. So ito yung pinili ko para i-discuss sa inyo na paano nga ba natin ma-handle yon. Ano nga ba talaga nararamdaman ng mga kabataan natin. Okay? So at least may idea na mga magulang natin, ito palang pumapasok sa utak nila. And these are all the suggestions nitong netizens natin from Twitter, si Baby Girl. So, tingnan natin, ano nga ba sa palagay niya na makakatulong sa mga taong suicidal. So, let's examine. Sir, next. Number 1, minsan may mga times na malungkot lang talaga sila at di nila alam ang dahilan. Tell them you understand, tell them andyan ka lang para sa kanila. Number 1 thing, para mas maramdaman nila, hindi naman talaga actually na kailangan mag-usap. They need physical presence. Okay? Sa sitwasyon natin ngayon, hindi ito magagawa ng isang kaibigan. Ang makakagawa nito, magulang. Of course. Okay? So, if you are there for them every time that you see them, ang maganda kasi sa magulang, kahit hindi nagsasalita ang bata, you know that they are talking to you by heart. They are not okay, so naandyan ka. Okay? Next, kapag ayaw magkwento, huwag mong pilitin. Huwag kang magalit. Huwag mo siyang pilitin na sabihin lahat-lahat. Because Hindi rin nila alam kung paano to ikikwento. Hindi rin nila alam kung paano sisimulan. Let them cry. Hug them. This is to tell you, this is the most effective way sa mga ganitong may sitwasyon. We call this touch therapy. Siyempre ako as a counselor, limitado ako dyan. Lalo pa ako, lalaki ako. Okay? Pero sa mga magulang tulad po natin, sa may mga nagmamahal sa ating mga anak, we can always do that. That is the number one thing that make calm your mind. Pag kalmado na yung utak natin, gagana na yung thinking brain. At yun yung pinakamaganda. Hugging them. Yakapin natin. Number 3, if your friend were doing self-harm, tulungan mo sila maghanap ng ibang paraan. Ilabas yung lungkot at galit nila. Okay? Kahit minsan sa sarili nila, galit din sila. Then of course, naandin din yun na hindi na rin nila alam. Balikan ko yung paliwanag kanina ha. Pag natitrigger sila, yung previous experiences nila, mas malaking chances na uulit-ulitin nila yon kasi yun yung ginagawa. Hindi gumagana yung iba, yung other option to think. Hindi nga gumagana ang thinking brain. So pag naandyan ka, pwede mo siyang yayain. Gawin ang isang bagay. Pero importante doon, nakasama ka. Okay? Ito yung sinasabi ko sa mga magulang sa DSWD. Huwag niyong bigyan ng napakagandang laruan ang bata. Kahit ang isang laruan na binili lang sa tindahan, ang ibigay mo dyan, magiging masaya yan kung kasama kang naglalaro. Okay? Yun yung pinaka-memorable sa bata. Yung kasama kang naglalaro, hindi yung magandang laruan. Okay, next. Number 4. Please don't ever let them go to sleep sad. Kung kaya mo, magpuyat ka with them para lang may makausap sila. This is reality. Karamihan na may mga anxiety at depressions, inaatake sila, natitrigger sila paggabi bago matulog. Kaya nga yung iba dyan hindi nakakatulog. Yung iba dyan, inaabutan na ng daling araw or minsan 2 oras lang. Yung iba nagkakaroon ng insomnia. Okay? But if they are comfortable kasi alam nila na meron silang kasama, mas marerelax sila. And eventually, kahit ang utak lang marerelax, then dire-diretso na yung makakatulog na. But what if kung may insomnia nga? Siya nga pala, I have another method how to deal with insomnia. Kaya lang kung ipapaliwanag ko sa inyo ngayon, medyo kulang na. If there are from the audience, from the participants na may insomnia, please, you can contact me. Tuturuan ko kayo how to manage that without relying sa sleeping pills. Promise, 15 minutes, makakatulog ka talaga. Okay? With the method we were using, gamit yung CBT. Sige. Next, remind them that they are loved and worth it. That they're beautiful, they're glad to have, that you're glad to help them, make them feel glad that they're alive. Okay? More reason na mas ma-appreciate nila na buhay sila because there are people na nando sila. Okay? Hindi naman kailangan mag-participate ng tao may depression, pero at least maramdaman niya na merong taong naandito para makasama siya. Hindi para sitahin yung ginagawa niya, pero yung maramdaman ng bata na naandyan ka para sa kanya. Okay? Love them. Without words, you can, sabi ko nga, yakapin mo and engage them in an activity na pareho kayong mag-i-enjoy. Please don't ever give up on them na nakaka-frustrate lang yung hindi sila nakikinig sa'yo. Alright. So, paulit-ulit mo siyang sinasabihan, wag ganyan, wag ganito, and so on. And yet, paulit-ulit pa rin. Sa totoo lang, medyo may inis ka na, and so on, but please don't give up on them kasi sila mismo, sumuko na sila sa sarili nila. They are not saying this, pero yan ang totoo. Sumusuko na sila. Sabi ko nga, there is one incident nagtanong sa akin isang estudyante. Sabi niya sa akin, Sir, sabi niya sa akin, wag ko sasabihin sa magulang niya, gusto yung magpakamatay. So paano yun? Paano kung magpakamatay yan? Di konsensya niya. Ito yung sagot ko sa kanya. Sabihin mo sa magulang niya kasi hindi mo yun mababantayan 24 oras. Sabihin mo sa magulang niya. Okay? Ngayon, pag nalaman ng magulang niya, magagalit sa'yo. Okay, mamili ka. Magalit ang kaibigan mo sa'yo, pero buhay siya, or hindi siya magagalit sa'yo, kinabukasan patay siya. So, doon na lang tayo magalit siya. So, sabihin mo sa magulang yon. Halimbawa, dinerecho pa rin kahit sinabi ng magulang, labas ka na doon. Ginawa mo na yung dapat mong gawin. Okay? Yan lang yung sinasabi ko sa nila. Just don't give up. Okay? Yun yung pinaka-importante dito. And of course, as a parent, naandun tayo. Next. This is important. Alam kong you are trying to help. Pero kaya mo yan at mas mabigat pang problema ng iba kaysa sa'yo, it won't help. That's true. Okay? Bakit sila may depression? Bakit sila may ganyan? Because it is simply because hindi nila kaya. Another thing, wag na rin natin gagamitin na binigay ito ng Diyos sa atin. Malalagpasan natin to. Walang kinalaman dito ang Diyos. I'm a Catholic. Okay? Hindi kagustuhan ng Diyos ang nangyayari sa atin. Sa totoo lang, bakit nagkakaroon ng problema ang isang tao? Simple lang. The moment na nahihirapan kang tanggapin ang pagbabago sa sarili mo, sa paligid mo, dito nagkakaroon ng problema. So, naandito sa atin. Sometimes problems is not a problem pag hindi sinabi ng utak natin na problema yan. So, wag natin sasabihin sa kanila na binigayan, baka minsan sisimpa nila ang Diyos. Hindi ang Diyos ang nagbigay niyan. Walang binibigay ang ganyan Diyos. Hindi nila kaya. That's why they have depression eh. May mas mabigat na problema sa iba. Well, to tell you the truth, lahat ng problema, lahat ng kinoconsult sa akin, I consider that mabigat. Kasi nga, hindi na nila kaya. We cannot compare that to other people. Okay? Iba-iba. Huwag natin titingnan yung cause. Tingnan natin yung effect. Okay, just to share to you a few moments with what happened in Yolanda ha. Hindi porket na Yolanda ka, may trauma ka. Totoo yan. Nung may pinuntahan kaming bayan doon sa Samar, pagkita ko doon, nakakaawa yung buong bayan. Nakita ko merong isang bagong tayong tent doon. Akala ko evacuation center yun, yung mga nawala ng bahay. Pero pagdating ko doon, karamihan, mga lalaki at ang hawak nila, pangsabong. So in short, yung mga lalaking to, wala silang trauma. And yet, they experience that kind of situation. So, hindi lahat. So, we cannot compare problems with other people kasi iba-ibang epekto. Next, number 8. Listen. This is another effective way how to deal with these people with anxiety and so on. Minsan, hindi nila kailangan na sabihin mo sa kanila. Kailangan lang nila ng isang taong makikinig sa kanila. Okay? Let them. Allow them. Hayaan lang natin magsalita sila na magsalita. Makinig lang tayo. Yun lang yung kailangan nila. By the way, ang pagsasalita ng taong problemado, pagsalita ka ng salita, so ito rin yung tinatawag natin na hingahan, na ilalabas mo yung lahat ng mga negatibo sa sarili mo. Ngayon, pag nailabas mo siya, ang shifting ng emotional brain natin, bumabalik na siya sa thinking brain. Kasi kumakalban ng utak natin eh. And once na bumalik na sa thinking brain, dito nagagana, dito niya na maiisip na ito pala ang solution sa problema niya. Pansinin nyo, kahit kayo rin. Punta kayo sa kaibigan nyo, sabihin nyo, then mamaya-maya, medyo nare-relax ka na, then eventually, maiisip mo, oo nga pala, ito nga pala yung dapat kong gawin. So, that's the process. And that's the healing wonders of listening. Okay, next. Okay, next po. Alright. Kung mapapansin nyo, madalas silang mag-sorry. Nagsusorry sila lagi dahil feeling nila pabigat sila. Okay? Well, yan ang number one na iisip nila. Feeling nila lahat ng ginagawa nila mali and so on and so forth. So, we need to assure them na that's okay. That's okay because you are there for them. Malalagpasan yan. Siguro hindi mo kaya, But naandito ka and you can assure them, pag kayong dalawa haharap dito sa problemang yan, lahat malalagpasan. Kasi alam mo, pag hindi mo kaya, may aalalay sa'yo. Okay? Just let them feel that. Okay, next. You don't have to fix them. Hindi naman natin pwedeng may pangako sa kanila. Step by step, all the way. Ito yung sasabi ko, as long as naandyan ka. Okay? Pag hindi mo na kaya, ask a friend. Merong tutulong sa inyo, pero wag mo siyang papabayaan. Naandyan ka pa rin. Sabi ko sa inyo, napakahalaga dito ng physical presence. Okay? Yung pinaka-importante. At listening. Just be there for them. Okay, next. Kapag galit sila, they can become so heartless. Please understand. Kapag sumobra, pagsabihan, pero huwag mo sabayan yung galit. Kalmado lang tayo. Oh, teka, hindi na okay yan. But then again, huwag mo silang iiwanan. Yung nandun pa rin tayo. Kalmado lang tayo. Kasi sila, hindi sila nagagalit sila sa sarili nila because they are totally out of control among themselves. Kaya ganun. Next. Take them seriously. Hindi nakakatuwa yung last ka na, big ka na, and so on. Because, pag biniro natin sila ng ganyan, so meaning, ina-affirm natin na hindi siya importante. Kahit biro yan. Sa mga tao may depression, anxiety, wag mo silang basta bibiruin ng ganyan because they are not mindful. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, hindi nila naunawaan, they are not rational, hindi nila naunawaan kung biro ba yan o totoo, and so on. Para sa kanila, totoo yun. And lots of cases, may mga nagpapakamatay, and yet, sinasabi sa'yo, hindi mo iniintindi. So, meaning, papayag ka na. So, yun yung nasa isip nila. Next. So, I hope that this helps. Alam ko na pagod din kami sa sarili namin, but we can help it. Kayanin natin to together. These are the message. This is one strong message na gusto nilang sabi. Just be there for them. Okay? And you can, of course, look for that sa Twitter and so on with this one. Alright, so halimbawa hindi nyo na kaya, you can always go and ask for help. You have this following hotline. You can go to NCMH and, of course, check with this number sa landline and so on. Meron pang isa, this is from Natasha Goulburn Foundation, yung hotline nila sa may mga depressions. You can always call them. That is available 24/7 pag medyo hindi tayo nakaka-connect kasi sabi ng NCMH, 40% na tumaas ngayon ang mga hotline calls sa kanila. Pero tigaan pa rin natin, tawag tayo. Pag meron may kakilala na nakaranas nito at hindi nyo alam ang gagawin, you can contact them. If sa college, you have these friends sa college, then you can also contact them. Ito naman yung nun. And most especially naman sa senior high school. Next. Okay, ito naman po sa senior high school. Ito number na to, ito po yung number ng counseling office namin. Ako po yung sasagot yan if in case may contact kayo. At dito sa mga links na to, anytime, pwede po kayo and ako rin po yung sasagot yan. Alright, this will be my last words for you. Ito yung pwede natin sabihin sa kanila. If you want to show me that you really love me, don't say that you would die for me. Instead, stay alive for me. Masyado kasi tayong fixated dun sa pambansang awit natin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa iyo. But this time, kung mahal natin ang tao, kailangan nating mabuhay para sa taong yun. Okay? So, that's all. thank you very much. And again, I apologize dun sa audio technicality natin kanina. But I hope that you have received the message of this webinar. And I am very much grateful that I became part of this one to share to you my knowledge and experiences of how to deal this problem in issues to mental health. Again, from Legazpi City, this is the way that we say thank you, Diyos Mabalot.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Nino, for that fruitful discussion. So, we've learned a lot sa inyong lecture, sir. So, before I think overtime na tayo, but there are few questions to be answered. I believe meron tayo, tama po ba, Nurse Joy, from our
Yes,
audience?
Nurse Chen. Let me read this and Sir Nino, please feel free po to answer the question. So yung first question po, can we share the screenshots of the topic with our relatives and friends?
Okay. Yes po. Pwede po. All you have to do is to contact us, then papadala namin. Ako, personally, I have this PowerPoint presentation, so pwede ko may padala sa inyo. However, ito pong recordings na ito, we can ask Ma'am Joy siguro or Nurse Jen kung paano maipapadala sa inyo.
Sige po. And then, Sir Nino, next question po. With regards to school pressure, how they plan to limit screen time for students and manage their learning space?
Okay. So, most probably, hindi natin sa school or sa ano?
Yes po. School
Sa
pressure.
bahay.
School
Ay, sa
pressure.
school pressures.
Opo.
Ang screen time kasi natin ng mga kabataan ngayon, most likely hindi talaga malilimis ngayon. Even pag wala silang ginagawa, naandun pa rin yun. But with the pressures, if you think that there are some may hindi maganda nangyayari and nagiging dependent na yung bata dun sa sa screen dependency syndrome, although hindi lang ito pang matanda, pati sa mga if you think there's a problem with that, consult, okay? Kontakin niyo po ako dun sa number na yon, then we can talk about that. Kung paano natin iba-iba kasi yung method. Depende yun sa coping ng bata at kung paano natin may divert yung coping na yon. Okay? Iba-ibang cases yon. So all you have to do, kontakin niyo ako, then tingnan natin kung medyo nakakabahala na yung sobrang dependency ng bata sa screen. Okay po.
Alright. I think, Sir Nino, yun lang po yung questions. Meron pa po bang, may mga questions pa po ba kayo for Sir Nino?
Kaya nga pala, let me add, kanina nangako ako, yung feeling nyo may insomnia kayo, kontakin nyo ako, then I'm going to help you how to manage that, yung sleeping, yung bio clock natin. I have one particular method na nagamit ko na to sa may mga insomnia. So, of course, medyo confident din akong i-share din yun sa inyo. If there are anybody medyo problematic dito, kasi insomnia, galing din yan dun eh. So, tatamaan talaga nito mental health natin. Okay po.
Alright. So I think, Sir Nino, that's all. So we would like to thank you, Sir Nino, for answering the questions and giving us enlightenment and for your wonderful discussion. We've learned a lot and hopefully we will have a second part of another discussion intended to our dear parents. So earlier, we shown you a video teaser for our next week webinar. Our next series is meant for the students, both for college and senior high school. So we are asking for your help to encourage your kids to attend our webinar on September 11, 2020 at 1:30 p.m. We will be announcing the complete details this afternoon po. Now, may I bring Nurse Chen for the closing remarks?
Okay, thank you so much, Nurse Joy, and again, Sir Lilio. To our dear audience, it is indeed a pleasure to be Yes, sir. It is indeed a pleasure to be a part of this webinar and to collaborate with our guidance counselors to promote mental health to our parents, students, and teachers. We thank you all for providing time to join us in understanding the emotional and mental needs of our children in adjusting on this new normal. Let this be the first step on good partnership on being an advocate for mental health in building our child's future. We also would like to thank CIIT for giving the medical team this opportunity to conduct this webinar as part of our health and wellness campaign. To our dear speaker, Sir Nino, the GCC team headed by Ms. Grace, and last but not the least, our IT department for our technical assistance. Thank you so much. So to our dear participants, before leaving our webinar, please fill up our quick survey to receive your e-certificate. For attendance, we will be sending all certificates to your personal emails. Deadline of answering our survey will be until September 5, 2020. Please expect certificates by next week, September 9, Wednesday. Ang CIIT Medical Health Services ay nakikiisa sa pagsugpo ng COVID-19. We heal as one. Maraming salamat po and thank you for joining us.